Hey there, welcome back to another enlightening episode on Cure Orbit. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a topic that is crucial for understanding the roots of many health concerns, insulin resistance. This is a condition that affects millions and is often the silent culprit behind many health challenges. So stay with us as we unravel what insulin resistance is, its causes, symptoms, treatment, and the steps you can take to protect yourself against it. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss out on our weekly dose of health insights and empowering stories. Let's embark on this eye-opening journey together. Now, before we delve into the intricacies of insulin resistance, let's start with the basics. What is insulin? Produced by the pancreas, insulin is a hormone that acts like a key, allowing glucose, sugar, from the bloodstream to enter your body's cells for energy. Cells then use this glucose to function, fueling everything from muscle movement to brain activity. Now, what happens when this process goes awry? Enter insulin resistance, a condition where your body's cells, particularly in the muscles, fat, and liver, don't respond effectively to insulin. Picture this: you've just eaten a meal. Your body breaks down the carbohydrates into glucose, which enters your bloodstream, triggering the release of insulin from the pancreas. This insulin acts as a messenger, helping the cells to absorb the glucose for energy. However, in cases of insulin resistance, those cells become somewhat resistant to this insulin signal, making it harder for glucose to get inside. As a result, glucose starts building up in your blood rather than being used by the cells. To compensate for this, the pancreas tries to produce more insulin, attempting to force the glucose into the cells. Initially, this mechanism works, keeping your blood sugar levels relatively steady. However, over time, the constant strain on the pancreas might lead to a point where it can't produce enough insulin to overcome the resistance. At this juncture, the glucose in your blood starts to rise, marking the transition from insulin resistance to type 2 diabetes. The reasons behind insulin resistance are multifaceted. One major factor is excess body weight, particularly the visceral fat around your abdominal region. When you're overweight or obese, your fat cells release substances that trigger inflammation. These inflammatory chemicals interfere with the action of insulin, making it harder for glucose to enter your cells efficiently. Being physically inactive also contributes to insulin resistance. When you don't engage in regular exercise, your muscles don't utilize glucose as readily, forcing insulin to work harder. Over time, this strain can lead to insulin resistance. Another significant culprit is your diet. Consuming an excessive amount of processed and sugary foods, especially high fructose corn syrup found in many soft drinks, can overwhelm your body's insulin system. These foods cause rapid spikes in blood glucose levels, putting extra pressure on your cells and insulin. Also, certain conditions like polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, and a fatty liver can play a role in developing insulin resistance. Moreover, genetics and family history hold a significant influence. If you have a close relative, such as a parent or sibling, with diabetes or insulin resistance, you're more susceptible to it. This highlights the importance of understanding your family's health history and taking proactive steps to prevent potential issues. Recognizing the signs of insulin resistance is crucial for early intervention. Despite being often referred to as a silent condition, some indicators can signal its presence. An increase in belly fat, especially around your waistline, could suggest that your body is struggling to regulate insulin effectively. Intense cravings for carbohydrate-rich and sugary foods, coupled with feelings of tiredness or fatigue, might indicate that your cells aren't getting enough energy due to inefficient insulin function. Another sign to watch for is darkened skin patches. These velvety dark areas often appear in places where your skin folds, such as your neck, armpits, or groin. These patches, known as acanthosis nigricans, are linked to insulin resistance and high blood sugar levels. Additionally, persistently high blood pressure and abnormal cholesterol levels might also be linked to insulin resistance, hinting at underlying metabolic issues. It's important to remember that these signs might not be obvious initially, which is why regular health checkups are essential, especially if you have risk factors like obesity, a family history of diabetes, or conditions like PCOS. As we continue our discussion about insulin resistance, let's turn our attention to the question of how it's diagnosed. Detecting insulin resistance isn't always straightforward, especially in its early stages when symptoms might be subtle or absent. However, several blood tests can provide valuable insights. A fasting insulin test measures your body's insulin levels after a period of fasting, typically 8 to 12 hours. While it doesn't directly measure insulin resistance, a high HbA1c suggests that your cells aren't responding to insulin as they should, hinting at insulin resistance. Your healthcare provider may also perform a glucose tolerance test. In this test, you'll drink a sugary solution and your blood glucose levels will be checked periodically. A higher than expected rise in blood sugar could signal insulin resistance. Other tests include the Quantitative Insulin Sensitivity Check Index, QuickEye, and the Homeostatic Model Assessment, HOMA, which use measurements of fasting insulin and glucose to estimate insulin sensitivity. It's important to note that while these tests are valuable, they might not always be readily available. In such cases, your doctor might assess your waist circumference, blood pressure, and other health markers to gauge your risk of insulin resistance. Collaboration with your healthcare team is key in interpreting these results and deciding on further actions. Remember, understanding your risk factors and being proactive about preventive measures is a powerful tool in managing insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a complex condition with far-reaching implications, but it doesn't have to define your health story. By recognizing the signs, understanding the risks, and embracing a healthier lifestyle, you can keep it under control and pave the way for a brighter, healthier future. Your body has an incredible ability to heal and adapt. With consistent effort and the right guidance, you can make significant strides toward better health and well-being. Don't let insulin resistance hold you back. Be proactive, stay informed, and take charge of your health today for a better tomorrow. Now that you're armed with knowledge about insulin resistance, it's time to put it into practice. Simple lifestyle changes can make a world of difference. Let's discuss 3 effective ways to tackle insulin resistance head-on. First and foremost, focus on maintaining a healthy weight. Even a modest reduction of 5 to 7% of your body weight can significantly enhance insulin sensitivity. This means that your body becomes more adept at utilizing insulin to regulate your blood sugar levels. To achieve this, incorporate regular physical activity into your routine and adopt a balanced diet rich in nutrients while keeping calorie intake in check. Speaking of physical activity, let's highlight its importance as a potent weapon against insulin resistance. Engage in at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. Activities like brisk walking, cycling, or swimming help your muscles use glucose more efficiently, reducing insulin resistance. Exercise isn't just about burning calories. It's about enhancing your body's overall response to insulin. Finally, dietary changes are fundamental in managing insulin resistance. Prioritize a balanced diet filled with whole fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. These foods provide essential nutrients while minimizing the strain on your insulin system. Limit your intake of processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats as they exacerbate insulin resistance. Remember, small changes in your diet can yield significant results. Opt for whole, unprocessed foods, and you'll be taking a giant leap toward better health. In conclusion, insulin resistance is a significant health concern, but it's not insurmountable. By adopting healthier lifestyle habits, you can turn the tide in your favor. Whether it's through weight management, regular exercise, or a balanced diet, each step you take is a step toward a healthier, more resilient you. Stay dedicated, stay positive, and watch as you reclaim control over your health and well-being. If you found this video informative and insightful, please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up. If you've been personally affected by insulin resistance, or if you've helped someone else navigate this condition, we encourage you to share your story in the comments below. Your experience could be a source of strength and inspiration for others. And if you're passionate about health and science, consider subscribing to our channel. We regularly publish content aimed at empowering you with knowledge and motivation to live a healthier life. Your engagement fuels our mission. Thanks for being part of the Cure Orbit community. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and keep moving forward. Together, we can overcome any challenge.